Fatiha's mother was unbothered, just like her daughter. They were a family of little means who could not afford buying new outfits for Fatiha, her daughter, to wear to the king's event. They were unlike other families where mothers had a choice of clothing but preferred to select tight-fitting ones for their daughters to wear to the king's dance. Fatiha's mom adorned her hair with beautiful petals and her face with makeup. "Be happy, my daughter," she said, handing her the traditional free-flowing gown with stunning embroideries that was passed on to her by her mother. "Wear this, my daughter," she continued. "This would bring you luck." I know you are enjoying the story already, but hang on a little. We would appreciate it if you consider subscribing to our channel and helping us grow. We post interesting African stories every week, and your subscriptions and engagements would enable us bring you more of these African stories. Now, back to the story. Some time ago, as the legend told, the beautiful and mountainous kingdom of Imlu was left without a king since the unfortunate demise of King Abdel IV in a winter skiing event. His only son and successor, Prince Aziz, was only 16 years old when he died and was adjudged incapable of making decisions for the entire people of Imlil by the kingmakers. And so, the kingdom was left without a king. Its affairs were to be overseen by the eldest kingmaker till Aziz would come of age. Years later, when Prince Aziz finally turned 25, the kingmaker of Imlil gathered and decided it was time to crown him king, since he was now capable of making informed decisions for the people. They agreed that their first task was to find him a befitting wife who would become the next crowned queen of Imlil. The kingmakers sent out words to the entire people of Imlil, inviting parents and guardians with eligible daughters to inform them of Prince Aziz's readiness to find a bride. It was customary in Imlil kingdom that every prince would select a wife from interested maidens who would assemble at the king's court to perform certain activities. This time, the kingmakers had mandated that the interested maidens would perform two activities. They were to dance and cook for the prince. Those whose dance impressed the king would make his shortlist and thereafter cook his favorite meal for a chance at becoming his wife and queen. Days before the event, the king's square became alive again. Colorful paintings, lightings, and street decorations adorned every corner. The entire kingdom became a beehive of activities, with several maidens engaging themselves with new traditional dance tutorials. Very few of them undertook cooking lessons from their mothers, since it was a newly added selection criteria believed to be of least importance. One of such maidens was Fatiha, the beautiful and reserved daughter of Bilal, the famous woodcutter of Imlil kingdom. Unlike other maidens, Fatiha did not overburden herself by the prospect of being selected by Prince Aziz. She was only interested in participating in the once-in-a-lifetime event alongside other maidens. When day broke, mothers prepared their daughters, adorning their hair with beautiful petals and their faces with makeup. They selected choice clothing for them to wear, mostly tight-fitting ones which highlighted their curves. Fatiha's mother was unbothered just like her daughter. They were a family of little means, who could not afford a new outfit for Fatiha to wear to the event just like other girls. She remembered a traditional free-flowing attire which had stunning embroideries that was passed on to her by her mother and gave it to Fatiha to wear. "This would bring you luck, my daughter," declared Fatiha's mother after offering prayers for her. Fatiha turned hurt when she joined the maidens in the king's court. "Is that not the woodcutter's daughter wearing a nightgown to prince's dance?" asked one of the maidens before bursting out into laughter. The laughter spread quickly. Everyone began looking at Fatiha, who stood out amongst the other maidens. Fatiha ignored them. She remained focused on enjoying her day. The maidens' dance was declared open immediately Prince Aziz took his seat. The maidens danced and danced. They danced in sets to different beats performed by the popular Imlil band under the watchful eyes of Prince Aziz and the kingmakers. He enjoyed the spectacle, the sultry movements and rhythm. He allowed them to dance a little longer till he made his final selection. The preferred maidens joyfully stepped forward as they heard their names called out by one of the female palace guards. Fatiha's name was the last to be called. This came as a surprise to her and made the others who watched keenly as the events unfolded. The palace chaperone led the 5 shortlisted maidens, who were of the same build, to the visitors' lounge where they took their bath and changed into cooking outfits. Then she led them to the spot mapped out for the cooking contest. Prince Aziz and the kingmakers were already seated when they were assembled. The maidens were provided with a variety of stoves, firewood, and cooking tripods. They were also provided with an assortment of local and processed ingredients and spices. They were to make use of their preferred cookers, cookware, and ingredients to make the prince's favorite couscous meal. Fatiha opted to cook with firewood. She selected the best oak woods. The other maidens jeered at her. They wondered why anyone would take the pains of using firewood when there was a variety of options. What they did not know was that Fatiha did not know how to cook with stoves. She had always cooked with the firewood which her father brought back home from work. She did not want to embarrass herself. She also avoided using the processed spices which she was unfamiliar with. She cautiously prepared the prince's food with the local spices, allowing the oak wood give it a distinct smoky flavor. When they were done, the cooking area was filled with saffron and cinnamon aroma. The palace chaperone carefully engraved the names of each of the 5 maidens under the bowls which their food was to be served. After the maidens dished out their foods in their assigned bowls, she led 5 female guards who carried the dishes to the table where Prince Aziz sat with the kingmakers. Prince Aziz was satisfied with the physical appearances of the 5 maidens he had selected, so he decided to make a blind selection based on the best tasting meal. Taste after taste, he continued, till he finally settled with one of the dishes which he adjudged the best. He lifted the bowl to reveal the name engraved on it. The kingmakers and palace staff looked on. "Fatiha!" exclaimed the prince. "That's my wife-to-be," he concluded. The kingmakers were excited. They knew they had a wedding and a coronation to plan. The news came to Fatiha and the rest of the contestants as a shock. She broke down in tears and cried tears of joy. Not in her wildest dreams had she expected to become the prince's bride. The reality dawned on her when she reached home to a resounding welcome. Then she began to cry all over again. "I knew this dress would bring you luck," her mother whispered, hugging her with every sense of pride. "It was the same dress I wore the day your father met me." Days later, Prince Aziz got married to Fatiha in a magnificent wedding celebration, witnessed by numerous visiting kings and heads of industries. The people of Imli were happy for Prince Aziz and Fatiha. They wished them well, presenting them with gifts of all sorts. 4 months later, Prince Aziz was crowned king, while Fatiha, the daughter of a woodcutter and the one who was laughed at, became the queen of Imlil kingdom. The people of Imlil were excited. They expected nothing short of good leadership following the legacies of King Abdel, his late father, whose reign was short but inspiring. And like the story goes, King Aziz and Queen Fatiha led the people to prosperity, opening up new avenues for tourism and culinary practice in the beautiful and mountainous kingdom of Imlil. And with that, we come to the end of today's episode. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can be notified when our next story is available. Thank you for joining us and catch you soon.